It's over. Go home already. Why are you still here?
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome in live to another edition of Southwest Bias from Studio, there it is, Studio K. You see the sign behind me. Brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Download the Circle K app today and become a member of the Inner Circle. It's over. It's done. Sunday was the death knell of Arizona Cardinals football for 2025. And very much like many of the other seasons that we've experienced here in Arizona, there's just disappointment. You have high hopes for the Cardinals, and they find every way to snuff it out. They find every possible way to disappoint you. They find every possible way to say that faith that you've had in us for 35 plus years, since 1988, isn't really warranted. No longer are we talking about a rebuild that, seems to be moving in the right direction. No longer are we talking about a coaching staff that they've got it figured out. No longer are we talking about just how good Kyler Murray could be. We are close to the bottom yet again. And after the bye week, a knockout blow could come in Dallas on Monday night in embarrassing fashion on national television. And that's when we'd be reintroduced to the bottom, rock bottom, the cellar. The same conversations with the New York Jets. Not that bad. Let's not get over our skis, but still bad. And there needs to be some answers during this bye week. Because the culture, the environment, everything that was supposed to be the bedrock that we assumed was being built here doesn't seem to be here now. Because guess what good football teams do? They find a way to win in close games. People say, well, all 7 games, we're so close. They could be 7-0. Yeah, but they aren't. And in the NFL, it's who actually executes. It's who takes care of business. It's who figures out how to win in the last few series, because most games will come down to that in the NFL because of parity. Or parody. And this Arizona Cardinals team doesn't have it. And that's on everyone. That's not just on Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett. It's on the coaching staff. It's on the defense, who finds ways to give up drives at the worst times. This team became the first team in NFL history to lose 3 straight games when leading by a touchdown or more going into the fourth quarter. They're historically bad right now in the way that they're executing. In this bye week, one of 2 things has to happen in my mind. You have to fire somebody on the coaching staff, which the obvious answer to me is Drew Petzing or somebody that is, one of the offensive line coaches. Somebody needs to be let go. Or you need to consider what you can get for Kyler Murray now. Or maybe both. Maybe both need to happen. Because we've seen 7 years of Kyler Murray, and that hasn't been the answer. We've seen almost 3 years of Drew Petzing. It's not the answer. And guess what? If it keeps going like this, there's going to be a hell of a lot of questions about Jonathan Gannon, too. And you can't tell me as a fan that hasn't creeped into your mind already. Because this is frustrating. As fans, we deserve better. Will we get it? I don't know. We've been feeling like we deserve better since we were burning our asses on the bleachers in freaking Sun Devil Stadium in the early 90s. This team has been a perpetual search for better, in perpetual search for that quarterback and that coach. You find it in small pockets. Ken Wisenhunt was that for a very brief time. So was Kurt Warner, Carson Palmer, and Bruce Arians. But there has not been sustained success here in Arizona. And it is time to get that. I did not feel very good about what Jonathan Gannon had to say after the game yesterday. It did not inspire confidence in me.
7 games in, we'll do a deep dive, and we got to get it corrected, and that's, every losing coach, I'm sure, stands up here and says the same shit. But until we do it, it's going to keep happening, you know what I mean? And I fall into that boat, like I said, it starts with me. I'm sitting in there, after the game, and it's like, damn, like I got to do more. I got to do something more. But I really do believe in the people that we have. So that's a positive. There's no doubt that's a positive, and they will battle, they will fight. I know that. Going back, losing how we've lost a couple of these games, 2 good teams in a row here, we went toe-to-toe with them. We just got to play a little better.
I get it. It's not his style to come out with fire and anger. But we'll review things. I believe in my gut. I'm sick of platitudes. It's not good enough. This team has not performed up to expectations. They backslid last year after 6-4. They've started this season off dismal. I think they're 4-11 in their last 15. Without Kyler Murray, it hasn't mattered. And again, this isn't all on Kyler Murray in any way. But I think it's time to move on and consider all options in everything. Coaching staff needs to make changes. Kyler's had his run here. Everybody at every level needs to be held accountable right now. Because this was supposed to be the easy part of your schedule. This was supposed to be when you padded wins, when you started off hot, when you were 6-1, 7-0, so you could go into that gauntlet of a back half of a schedule and actually have a chance to fight for a playoff spot. Well, guess what? You're playing tankathon now. You're sitting there trying to figure out what you are actually going to be able to do in the draft now. We got to look at mock drafts. We got to consider who else is losing and are we losing at a pace. That's where we are again. And I don't know about you, but I'm quite sick of it. I want to see a football team that goes out there and wins. One that actually does not disappoint this city. One that knows in the fourth quarter how to hold a lead or how to storm back and take one. And instead, we got a team that is making the same mistakes over and over and over again. This isn't an injury thing. And you can try to hide behind that if you want, but it's just not. It's an execution thing. It's a preparedness thing. It is a play calling thing. There is a fundamental problem here in Arizona. And this bye week should be when they're doing surgery to find out what it is and how to remove the issues. There cannot be zero change over the next 15 days before you go to Dallas. Because to me, that's just accepting that 2-5 is good enough. That's just accepting that this whole narrative that maybe if a few things went our way, it would be better. That's not okay. I'm calling up Minnesota and I'm going, what would you give me for Kyler Murray? You guys are hurting at quarterback. You have hopes of trying to do something in the playoffs. You got a second rounder for me? I look at Drew Petzing and I go, are you really the guy that's going to go forward? Whether we keep Kyler or we're looking at a new quarterback via draft or free agency. Are you the guy to develop him? Because it sure as hell hasn't seemed like it. And if I'm Jonathan Gannon, I'm asking myself questions. I'm looking in the mirror and going, what's my fault in this? Why are my guys not ready? What am I not doing to actually get these guys in a position to succeed? I do a deep dive on my offensive line and why it's gone from being somewhat of a strength for this team to somewhat of an embarrassment. Why did you have single coverage on Micah Parsons yesterday throughout the game? So much so that after the game, he said, wow, I was surprised. That was the first time in my career I've faced that. That's a scheme problem. That is a fundamental coaching problem, especially when you got a guy that's a statue back there in Jacoby Brissett. One that's not afraid to take the hit. He'll stand there in the pocket and deliver, but you did him no favors yesterday, especially at the end of the game. This is not one person's fault. This is everybody's fault. This is a fundamental issue with this team. And they need to look deep and figure out what's going on over the next 15 days. So Monday night, November 3rd in Dallas, doesn't become the next most embarrassing moment in Arizona Cardinals history. I think maybe as a fan base, they want us to, Shane, do you got that sounder? Have this. I don't want to have lowered expectations. I've had that for far too long. I want to expect a team that's going to go out there and win. I want to expect a group that's coached and ready to win. From top to bottom, JG to the last assistant, hell, the water person, right? This team has struggled for far too long, even before they got to Arizona. And I've had enough of it. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome in the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. Shane, how are you?
I am great. How are you, Espo? We're all bad, actually.
I'm sick of having a crappy NFL team.
Yeah.
I'm sick of watching, guys go out there and not execute when it's most important. I'm sick of guys not being held accountable. That's how I am right now. How would you fix the Cardinals?
I mean, the biggest thing is what you've been talking about this whole time is fourth quarter execution, because you have the talent to stay in games. I think it's pretty clear. What you don't have is you don't have that thing that great teams have, and that's winning games. A lot of people look at one-score games and call it luck. They call it, it'll adjust next year. You were 0 for 7 in one score. That's not how it works. It's those are the biggest moments. Like, there's a reason why the NFL, as you talked about earlier, has so many games come down to one score. There's a reason why the witching hour is the witching hour on the NFL Red Zone. It's because this is how it works in the NFL. Teams lose games in the last minute because of execution. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why a team like the Denver Broncos, who were down 19-0, came back and won that game, and the team in the New York Giants barfed and threw that away. It's because of execution. It's because of a longer tenured coaching staff. It's because of better coaching. That's Sean Payton and Bo Nix against Brian Dable and Jackson Dart. Like, it's not just luck. It's about coaching. It's about execution. It's about the people that are on the field that are believing in what the coaching staff is putting out there. And right now, I think it's pretty clear that they're not on the same page at all.
Yeah, it's a league where you either execute or your career gets executed. Like, it's not for long, right? That's what the NFL stands for most of these guys. Is not for long. And I get some in the chatter like, "Oh, you're blaming Kyler for a loss yesterday." No, I'm not blaming Kyler for a loss. I'm blaming everybody, and I'm looking at Kyler and going, at some point, you have to cut bait and you just go, you know what? None of this is working. None of this is where it needs to be. And do I believe that guy and these coaches can get me where I want to go? I think we're learning that the answer is no on all fronts, at least from an offensive perspective right now. You see some hope in the defense. You see some things that could happen with the defense, but I need change. I need something to be different going into that Monday night game. Otherwise, I think we're going to be more embarrassed than what happened in Tennessee or against Tennessee, and we're going to get to do it on national television. With Scott Van Pelt being the post-game show and being laughed at as a national disgrace. I'm done with that. I'm not lowering my expectations for my teams. I want you to be striving to be better. Find ways to be good. Blow it up if you need to. I got my finger over the detonator right now. I think we're pretty close to being needing to blow it up. Shane, one other thing. One good football note. ASU had a pretty good weekend. A hell of a win. First win against a top 10 team since 2019, I believe it was. Yep. You covered it. What was your takeaway from Kenny and the boys?
That their defense is the best in the Big 12 when it's on. That last week against Utah, as I put in the thumbnail, was a scheduled loss without Sam Leavitt. A lot of people, were very critical of the defense in that game, and rightfully so. They got walked all over. And yeah, Sam Leavitt doesn't play defense, but Sam Leavitt not playing contributes to the mentality of a football team. And when you don't have your leader out there, the game looks a hell of a lot different.
Well, it puts a hell of a lot more pressure on your defense and makes them have to be on the field more. This team with Sam Leavitt is world beaters, is what you've seen. I saw that they have about a 5% chance, according to I don't know which
probably
thing
ESPN,
it was, but
FPI.
yeah, 5% chance to win the Big 12. So it feels like they are exactly where they need to be.
It's silly because they're one game away from controlling their own destiny moving forward. Cincinnati and BYU are both undefeated, and those are the only teams above you right now as it stands, with Utah losing to BYU and having 2 losses, and you having the tiebreaker over Texas Tech. Texas Tech had the number 1 offense in the country. It wasn't the number 1 offense in the Big 12. It was the number 1 offense in the country. They put up 560-something yards per game. They had the number 1 defense in the Big 12, and for most of that game, you controlled it.
You were facing the backup quarterback.
It doesn't matter. If you know who Will Hammond is, you know that, yeah, sure, Baron Morton probably runs that offense smoother, but Will Hammond isn't the wide receiver. Will Hammond isn't the tight end. Will Hammond isn't the offensive line. Will Hammond isn't the defensive line. Moving forward, this is going to be a team that everyone in the country has to watch out for, and you just hope that they continue with their ways against Houston at 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Well, hopefully that is the case, because they've been entertaining. A man that's always entertaining, and somebody that I'm sure is going to shout about the Cardinals louder than I did, is our guy Johnny Venerable. He'll be joining us right after this. Talking about our friends at Circle K. You know I stopped there this morning. I stop there every morning when I come into work. Today I got a coffee, and I really enjoyed it. But I've been eyeing their meal deals, right? It's the meal deal matrix. Yeah, no, not the movie from the 90s. You don't have to see code to get this. It's just simple. $3 meal deal, you get an entree, a side, and a drink. $4 meal deal, you're getting that entree, a side. It's a breakfast sandwich, hash browns, and any drink as well. And then $5, you get 2 slices of pizza and any 20-ounce Polar Pop or soda. Polar Pop up to 44 ounces. I think this might be my lunch today. It sounds amazing. And you can get this deal just by becoming a member of the Inner Circle. It's super easy. Join the Inner Circle for free today by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply with like everything in life. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details and save some money on gas too when you become a member of the Inner Circle. It's that easy. My friends at Mountain America Credit Union, when you save that money, you're going to need a place to put it, right? You're going to need a place to save that money and then have it do some work for you. And the My Style checking account is exactly where you need to do that, because it has built-in benefits. And don't we all love benefits? I've told you about it. Restaurant deals. I love to eat, and I love to save money when I'm doing it. You can do that here. Mobile phone protection, telehealth access, identity protection, loan rate discounts, travel and events, and oh, so much more. You can make my style your lifestyle with our friends at Mountain America Credit Union, and you will not be disappointed. Plus, you can get a Suns debit card with them or credit card. So if you want to rock the purple and orange this season as we get ready for tip-off, you can do it there. Visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration and activation. Terms and conditions and exclusions apply. My favorite guy to talk Cardinals football. Don't tell Bo that. I like talking it with him too. But my favorite guy, Johnny Venerable, joins us on the program. Johnny, I know you're probably not doing great, but I'll ask anyways. How are you?
Bad. Not doing well. It was a season that was promised in some way, shape, or form to be relevant, competent, winning season. The over-under with our friends at Bet365 was 8.5, and they look like one of the worst teams in the NFL. So can't remember a season this disappointing. I think back to like maybe 2016, that team that went to the NFC Championship game. I think we're like top 5 in Super Bowl odds. They fell on their face, 7-8-1. This is the most disappointing season, though, in 10 plus years, covering or being a fan of this team.
Talk me off the ledge, because I'm at a point where right now in this bye week, I'm calling people about interest in Kyler Murray. I'm considering firing Drew Petzing. I'm making any change that I can prior to that Dallas game, because embarrassment on national television in a season that's already been embarrassing, has been home to one of the worst losses in Cardinals history. I don't think I could take an embarrassing loss on national television in this year. I think that would be the death knell of a lot of things right now, and standing pat just does not seem like something you can actually do going into that game.
I think, unfortunately, for people who want change, they will look at, during this 5-game losing streak, how quote unquote like close they are. And they've said it. Even Jonathan Gannon made a comment, which I love. JG, I didn't love this comment yesterday about something to the effect of we're not getting blown out, or we're not getting our breaks beaten in. It's their close losses. They're losses. It doesn't matter. And I see a lot of people locally in this market, Espo, and I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised, preaching the fact that they have close losses. This is year 3 of a rebuild. You lost to the Tennessee Titans. I don't care. The fan base does not care the optics of how you win or lose. And I think anybody making that argument, it's kind of sad and pathetic at this point. If you want to talk about moral victories last year or 2023, sure, you can entertain those. You've had better talent than the large majority of these teams you played. Large majority. And you're losing games you should win. You're the only team in league history, 7+ point lead, entering the fourth quarter, 3 straight losses. What do you want, a ribbon for that? I'm not of the mindset. I'm not excusing teams for losses. You're not grandfathered into these roles. GM, head coach, quarterback. I made this comparison yesterday. The NBA, max player on a losing team can stat pad every night. And you're that's how the league operates, right? The NFL is different. This is a cutthroat industry. The Seahawks are a win away tonight. The NFC West could be 5-2 across the board, and you're 2-5. And they want to talk about, we're close. You're not close. And I look at that as, I would make changes. I would send a message to the locker room. Statistically, they have the worst fourth quarter defense in the NFL. They have a top 5 defense first 3 quarters of the worst fourth quarter defense in the NFL. That, to me, would signal a coaching problem. So I would fire a coach. I don't care which coach. If I'm Jonathan Gannon and I'm doing a 10-game audition, I would fire a coach to send a message. I would cut or bench players. I would cut or bench Jonah Williams. I would cut Bilal Nichols. I would cut Akeem Davis-Gaither. What do you have to lose at this point? I think you're going to continue to lose fan support. Maybe that doesn't matter to them, which would be unfortunate, with status quo. But put me on the record. I think it's a mistake to play Kyler Murray with Drew Petzing. And I texted you this last night. I would either bench Kyler, and if Drew wants to have 10 more games with JG before he's fired in January, that's their choice. Or I would fire Drew and I would match Kyler Murray with Drew Terrell and say, okay, let's look at this for 10 games. I have seen enough of Petzing with Kyler Murray. It does not work. We have a sample size. It's a pop gun offense averaging 18 points per game. So, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to match each other up, and I think it's a recipe for disaster.
If you do not make a change over the next 2 weeks, it's anger with the fan base right now. It's going to be apathy by that Monday night when it's a loss there because you're doing the same thing, and it drives me nuts I don't care if you lost every game by 1 point. When you see the lack of execution, how do you just look at this and go, we're just going to stand pat? It'll just figure itself out.
I mean, like I think they believe that this is turned on a dime, and then you've got the off the field stuff with JG, which does not help the optics. Like, did that kind of stuff bother me? No, but then it becomes something because the losing is so apparent. They lost that game yesterday because of coaching. They had horrific clock management at the end of the game. I did not like the play call. I like going for it on fourth down. I didn't like the play call at all. The defense, which is supposed to be like your state, this is a hand-selected defense with your players. They wanted Akeem Davis-Gaither. They wanted these defensive linemen. You can't get a stop to save your life. Like, I know they're missing Walter Nolan and Garrett Williams. Like, God, this is the NFL. Everybody's missing players. Mac Jones is out there winning games for San Francisco. Like, I got people in this market tweeting out how many snaps this team has lost with players out on injury. Like, are we going to cry about it every year? Like, every team in the NFL is missing players. You're in year 3 of a must-win season, and you're collapsing every fourth quarter. Like, I can't defend that. Like, so I want Gannon and company to succeed. He's been on our show. I have a vested interest in him because I think he's a good coach and a good culture builder. And I think they've made strides off the field with Michael Bidwell that are significant, right? With the training facility upcoming in North Phoenix and certainly what they've done, strength and conditioning. But, like, I can't defend this. Like, just because, like, I want people to succeed. If I have 14 games of, sample size the last calendar year and you've lost 10 of them, right? And you're not competitive in your own division in year 3 of a rebuild. Somebody asked me this on Twitter this morning, like, what would you do with Kyler Murray? I'm like, this conversation is way bigger than Kyler Murray now, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. Like, that's a moot point. This conversation is about, like, are they blowing this up in January? If this continues, they are, unequivocally. If you're Michael Bidwell and you're looking at season ticket holders in January, it's like, hey guys, we're close. I'm gonna read a statistic at you because we had this pretty well sourced that the Gannon did not want, I understand this, to become Matt Eberflus. Firing coordinators every year, switching guys out, and I respect that. They saw what Matt Eberflus did and didn't. Matt Eberflus finished his tenure 14-32. He's fired midseason or toward the end of the season for the Bears last year. Gannon is 14-27. I mean, he's 5 losses away from matching that, which is unthinkable. But it's the reality. It's like, so I would make changes. I would keep Brissett. I'd probably fire some coaches, bench some players, and see if that got the team going. And yes, if Minnesota wants Kyler Murray and they'll give you a high draft pick, you absolutely entertain that, and you sell it. Then you sell it to Michael Bidwell, like, okay, now we've got our infrastructure and we're going to trade up or whatever. I don't even think they're going to have that opportunity, honestly.
Yeah, Kyler Murray isn't the problem. He's a problem in a situation that is becoming a massive problem overall because nobody feels like they're the answer in anything right now. And did we have higher hopes than we should have? Maybe, but I think expectations should be placed on teams entering the third year of a rebuild. They supposedly fix things.
What are we like? Why even do this? Their over-under was a winning season. You couldn't get plus money on them over 8.5 wins. That Vegas was telling you this is a winning team this year. Their schedule to begin the season was about as easy as it comes. Mac Jones, week 4, week 3, and Tennessee. It's like they have nobody to blame but themselves. They let their best offensive coach and maybe the best coach on the staff leave for Dallas. Did not replace him with a competent replacement. All due respect, we've had Justin Fry on the show. He's a nice guy. Didn't matter. Like this is not, I see people upset about the officiating yesterday. Whatever. I mean, They called a lot of flags on both sides of the ball. Guess when those things get magnified? When you're losing, when you're big-time losers every week. It's like officiating. We didn't get a call today. It's like, no, these are self-inflicted for bad teams. You're a bad team. You've been a bad team. You remain a bad team. Like I don't have an appetite to watch a team every year progressively get worse. They are getting worse, not better. And unfortunately, we saw some of the tea leaves happen. They did not look good in the preseason, which people told me did not matter, right? They did not make significant improvements to the staff. I mean, you look around the NFC West, so it's like Robert Saleh has saved the San Francisco 49ers. You maybe saved Kyle Shanahan. And the Cardinals are like, we're good. They're the only team in the NFL that has complacency at head coach, defensive, offensive coordinator in year 3, does not have a winning record or people being fired. Like there's no way they can remain with that. We're bare minimum. Kyler will be gone. Drew Petzing will be gone. I'm confident of that. January rolls around, and if you ask me today, I would say Jonathan Gannon is safe with Monty Ossenford. But like, check back in a month if you just lose like double-digit games in a row, like you're not going to be able to keep your job. You shouldn't be able to. It's the NFL. You have to win.
I know people get up in arms when you say that about Kyler Murray in general, because I took a beating about that online. But to me, sometimes things run their course. And you're not going anywhere, and you're going there fast right now. I think it's just time to consider what the future really is.
Yeah, I mean, this franchise, this regime came here in 2023 and had a big mess to clean up, and I don't want to undersell that. But they also said, like, we're gonna try to win with Kyler Murray. They did not, like the Seahawks, forward think and say, well, we could trade Kyler, we can sign Geno, we can draft Jackson Dart, or we'll get a quarterback as an heir apparent. Like, they didn't do those things. They preach continuity, and it's blown up in their face. And like the offense was terrible when Kyler was in there with Drew. I think we expect much of the same, right? And it's a bigger indictment on their coaching staff that they couldn't recognize that. Like, if you can't have an offense to tailor for Kyler's unique skill set, and it is unique, and you needed Jacoby Brissett or a player of his caliber, stature, why wasn't that your priority from day one? We saw the ceiling last year with this. So they have made, unfortunately for Gannon, this staff offensive malpractice. The evaluation of quarterbacks, Dobbs, Desmond Ridder, Colt McCoy that first year, the fact that his best offensive coach, he allowed him to leave and didn't have the foresight to say, like, maybe Clayton Adams is better than Drew Petzing. And now, like, the biggest thing that you can't defend, it's like, you're supposed to be a defensive team, a defensive head coach. These are your handpicked players. You can't get a stop to save your life in the fourth quarter? Like, how am I supposed to sit up here and be like, you're getting out coached? You led that entire game against the Packers, and the Packers are like, no, we're going to take this game from you in your building with our fans here. Can't defend it. Like, if you want to blow this up at the end of the year, I support it, because right now it's like you might as well line up a GM, head coach, and quarterback all together this offseason, because you are barreling your way to a top 5 pick. In a quarterback-rich draft, you should be so lucky.
I'm just going to say this, Johnny. The most consistent, best Cardinals performer over the last 4 years has been you. So thank you so much, as always, for your takes and your insights. You can follow him on Twitter at Johnny Venerable. You can watch him at 4:30 on PHNX Cardinals. He gives you everything that you need, along with Bo Brock and Noah. Check him out today. Thanks, Johnny.
See you, fellas.
It's another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. A big thank you to the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach, a man that we won't replace during the bye week. You can follow him at Shane Dief. You can follow the program at PHNX_sports. And you can follow me at Espo. And remember, sometimes you just got to change things just because it's time. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.